This is the largest chip the world's ever seen. This is beyond the limits of physics.
Researchers discovered that our technology was perfect for AI. Today, Nvidia is the engine of AI. Cars can drive themselves.
Minutes ago, Nvidia's new chip shocked the entire industry. It is so powerful that it could give AI its own identity, molding physics in seconds. This chip ramps up its strength and speed thousands of times beyond the computer power available today, potentially saving a fortune as it effortlessly conquers complex challenges. Yet, with so many virtues, why is the competition terrified of this chip? Let us explore how Nvidia could create an unstoppable AI that takes over our daily lives. The amazing power of the Blackwell chip. The pace of advancement in computing technology has reached what many might call absurd levels. In just the last 8 years, computing power has jumped a whopping 1,000 times. Let's put that into perspective. Back when Moore's law was the guiding principle, a tenfold increase in power over 5 years was considered rapid. Now, in less than a decade, we've blown past those figures by 100-fold. And the end isn't in sight. As this breakneck speed continues, what was once deemed revolutionary now barely meets the threshold for the current demand. That led to the creation of the Hopper chip, an impressive piece of technology by any standard. Yet it seems it still wasn't enough to keep up with the voracious appetite for more power and speed. The Hopper chip itself is a marvel, packed with 28 billion transistors. It features a unique design where two separate pieces, or dies, come together in such a seamless integration that the system sees them as one unit. This design allows for a smooth flow of data, 10 terabytes per second, between the two halves, eliminating traditional problems like slow data access and inefficient storage that often bog down other chips. When engineers face challenges that seem to defy the basic principles of physics, their response was a dismissive, "So what?" And thus the Blackwell chip came into existence, ready to serve in two distinct types of systems. This relentless pursuit of increasingly powerful tech has turned into a kind of spectacle, a show of who can unveil the next big thing. It's less about practical necessity and more about pushing boundaries just because we can. Furthermore, the drive for the latest technology doesn't just affect individual buyers, it impacts entire industries. Businesses, big and small, feel the pressure to stay on the cutting edge to remain competitive. This can lead to significant spending on new technology, often before the full value of previous investments has been realized. This cycle of rapid obsolescence and replacement isn't sustainable in the long run for either consumers' wallets or the planet's health. As we deal with these issues, it becomes crucial to think about how we manage technology's role in our lives. Are we controlling it, or is it controlling us? As technology races forward, finding a balance between innovation and sustainability is more important than ever. This ongoing challenge calls for thoughtful consideration of not just the benefits of new technology, but also the broader implications of our tech-driven culture. Looking closer at the second version of the Hopper shows more of this ongoing trend. It started as just a prototype, but quickly became a fully working product. This technology is considered extremely valuable, with some units priced around $1 billion and more advanced versions costing up to $5 billion. Despite these sky-high prices, there are hints that future models might be more affordable. The design of the latest production model includes 2 Blackwell chips and 4 Blackwell dies, all connected to a Grace CPU known for its fast communication between chips. This setup packs a lot of computing power into a small area. The company that makes it says there's still room to push the limits of technology even more, suggesting that they might try to go beyond what's currently thought possible in physics. We now introduce the Transformer engine, pushing us into an era of more advanced systems. Next, we see how constant changes in technology affect us all. Are these tech upgrades worth it? They've also introduced a new Transformer engine with this upgrade. This engine uses an updated NVLink that's twice as fast as before, which means it can handle communication and calculations within the network much quicker. This is crucial for systems where multiple GPUs work together. They need to exchange and update information fast to stay efficient. This new network-focused computing isn't just a minor update, it's being celebrated as a revolutionary change that greatly boosts the system's overall speed and ability to handle tasks. This ongoing rush for the latest technology raises questions about sustainability and the environmental impact of discarding old but still functional technology. As companies continue to develop new products and urge consumers to upgrade, the amount of electronic waste grows, causing harm to the environment. However, with these advancements comes a considerable increase in complexity. The technology becomes more intertwined and dependent on constant updates and compatibility checks. This continuous need to upgrade can be overwhelming and expensive for users who are constantly told their current systems are obsolete. As these technological marvels continue to evolve, they shape how society functions, pushing the boundaries of what machines can do. Yet this constant evolution also demands a critical look at whether these innovations are genuinely transformative or just part of a larger spectacle driven by profit motives and market dominance. It's crucial to assess the balance between innovation and practicality, ensuring that advancements in technology truly meet the needs of the people they aim to serve. Let's dive into the latest buzz around a new tech thing called FP6. Everyone's talking about it because it's supposed to store a lot more data than older versions. But even with all that extra space, it doesn't actually run any faster. That's a bit of a letdown, isn't it? Then there's another piece of tech called FP4, which they say can move data around twice as fast as before, helping computers think and make decisions quicker. The people who made these things are really happy, claiming they'll use less power, there will be less data jamming up the internet, and everything will be a lot more efficient. They're calling it a huge leap forward in tech. This whole thing has been labeled Generative AI. Suddenly, it's not about just making new apps or cool tech gadgets anymore. Now it's about starting an entire industry from nothing. The big claim here is that this changes how computers do their basic tasks. To kick off this grand change, they've come up with a new type of computer chip that's designed to handle and organize data in a fresh way, which they've named content token generation. Sounds impressive, right? But let's peel back the layers a bit. What we're seeing might just be a lot of fancy talk for what boils down to typical tech upgrades. More storage here, faster processing there. The whole generative AI tag seems to be a way to make it sound more groundbreaking than it might really be. It's like when a movie trailer shows all the best parts but leaves out the plot holes. They promise us smarter technology and energy efficiency, but will these upgrades really change our daily tech experience? Or is it just another set of tools in the tech toolbox? Moreover, how practical are these upgrades for the average person? Sure, tech enthusiasts and big companies might see the benefits, but for most of us, it's hard to tell the difference in our day-to-day computer use. And while they're busy praising how this will revolutionize the industry, one has to wonder if it's all just a build-up to get everyone on board with a shiny new product. So while the tech heads may be all in, throwing around terms like industry revolution and next generation tech, the rest of us might just be watching from the sidelines, trying to figure out if it's worth getting excited about something that sounds a lot like what we already have, just repackaged with a trendy new name. Let's delve into what Nvidia is buzzing about these days, starting with their Blackwell AI supercomputer. They're pitching it as this massive upgrade capable of crunching data and making decisions with machines 5 times better than its older brother, Hopper. But as you know, in the tech world, they always want more and bigger. So of course, Nvidia didn't just stop after making Blackwell. They rolled out another piece of tech called the NVLink switch. This thing is packed with 50 billion transistors, almost matching Hopper in its sheer size. It comes equipped with 4 NVLinks, each able to transfer an enormous 1.8 terabytes of data every second. The grand idea here is to let every GPU in the system communicate with every other GPU at the same time at full throttle. It's a pretty wild concept, really pushing the limits of what we think tech can do. Moving from small tech upgrades to big changes in system design, we now look at how these technologies power a massive system like the DGX, how tech giants affect our lives. Now let's shift our focus to the DGX system. Just 6 years ago, Nvidia delivered the first DGX-1 to OpenAI. Back then, it was quite the unit, packing 170 teraflops of computing power. But hold on, because today, that number has shot up to a mind-boggling 720 petaflops. We're talking about nearly an exaflop of power, which in plain speak means it can perform a quintillion calculations per second, all crammed into one single rack. They say this kind of power is not common, with only a few machines like this existing anywhere in the world. It's not just a regular computer, it's like a monster supercomputer crammed into a compact box. So this all sounds impressive, sure, but let's peel back the hype a bit. These announcements are typically filled with big numbers and tech lingo that might dazzle someone not too familiar with the details. The truth is, doubling or tripling these power stats is pretty standard in these tech reveal events, often spiced up to sound more revolutionary than they might be. What really matters, and what these companies often skip over, is how these leaps in technology fit into our everyday life. Who actually needs this kind of intense computing power? Are we solving new problems or just making numbers bigger on paper? While Nvidia showcases their latest achievements, let's think about the bigger picture. For everyday users, these advancements might not mean much more than just numbers in a news article. For tech professionals and large companies, sure, these developments could be significant, but it prompts the question, are these advancements making technology better for all of us? Or are they just about having the biggest and fastest new gadget on the block? It's crucial to ask whether we're seeing real innovation that tackles pressing issues, or if it's mostly about keeping up appearances in the race to top the last big thing in tech. As exciting as these developments might be, it's worth considering if they're as groundbreaking as they claim, or just another set of tools that sound more important than they are, wrapped in flashy terminology to draw us in. This relentless drive to stuff more power into smaller spaces isn't just about making computers faster or smarter. It's also about keeping the audience hooked. Every new chip or system that rolls out isn't just a piece of technology. It's part of a show, a drama that keeps the tech industry buzzing and the rest of the world watching. They make each release an event, ensuring that the spotlight stays firmly on them, fueling a cycle of anticipation and excitement. Behind this spectacle, though, are layers of implications. For one, there's the environmental cost of rapidly outdating technology and the subsequent waste. There's also the economic impact on consumers who are pressured to keep up with the latest, often expensive technology that might soon be obsolete. Furthermore, this technology isn't just about practical benefits. It's about pushing the boundaries of what's possible, even if the average person or business might never need that kind of computational power. At the heart of this technology is the DGX NVLink spine, which is basically a super-fast data highway that can handle a whopping 130 terabytes of data every second. To put that into perspective, it's more than what the entire internet can handle at once. This means it could theoretically send data to everyone on the planet in the blink of an eye. The system uses a massive network of 5,000 NVLink cables that, if laid end-to-end, would stretch over 2 miles. If the team had decided to go with optical technology instead of NVLink, the setup would have needed a bunch of extra gear called transceivers and retimers. These bits of tech would have used up an extra 20,000 watts of power, with 2,000 watts just to keep the transceivers running. That's a lot of power, equivalent to what a small neighborhood might use. But by sticking with the NVLink switch, they avoided this huge power drain, which meant they could use that power for processing data instead. This was a clever move because the whole system needs about 120 kilowatts to run. So saving 20 kilowatts is a big deal. It's like turning off everything in several large houses all at once to save energy. The cooling system for this setup is pretty nifty too. It takes in water at a nice cool 25 degrees Celsius, about the same as a comfortable room, and heats it up to 45 degrees Celsius, which is about the temperature of a warm jacuzzi. This hot water is then pumped out at a speed of 2 liters every second. The ability to handle such high temperatures is crucial because it prevents the equipment from overheating. The manufacturing scale has also ramped up significantly. The company now makes peripherals that include up to 600,000 parts each. This is a huge increase from earlier models, which only had about 35,000 parts and weighed around 70 pounds. Today's GPUs are giants in comparison, weighing about 3,000 pounds and including 600,000 parts. That's a lot heavier than most things you're used to lifting, although still lighter than an elephant. Seeing these GPUs in action is quite the sight. For instance, training a top-notch AI model with 1.8 trillion parameters used to take 3 to 5 months with the old 25,000 ampere GPUs. If the same task were done with newer Hopper GPUs, it would only need about 8,000 GPUs and would use up 15 megawatts of power, completing the job in roughly 90 days. With each new improvement, the search for better performance challenges what we think is possible. Let's see how the latest advances are reshaping the tech landscape, saving energy with cutting-edge tech. However, the latest and greatest GPUs from Blackwell are a game changer. They can do the same job in the same 90 days. but would only require 2,000 GPUs and use just 4 megawatts of power. That's a massive cut from 15 megawatts. This huge improvement in power efficiency means less energy is wasted and more can be done with less. The introduction of Blackwell GPUs is shaping up to be a landmark event. It's not just about the technical specs, though they are impressive. It's about setting new standards in efficiency and power usage. The potential savings in energy and cost could have a big impact on how technologies are developed in the future. Everyone's watching closely because if this launch goes well, it could change the game for tech companies everywhere. This kind of technological leap forward is exciting not just for the tech heads, but for anyone interested in how big data gets handled in the future of computing. The ability to process vast amounts of information quickly and efficiently could open up new possibilities in every field, from medicine to entertainment. It's the kind of progress that makes you rethink what's possible with technology today. Let's unpack the buzz around the so-called next wave of robotics, also hyped as physical AI. This concept isn't entirely new. It's basically putting lots of data into a fancy machine to make it seem smart. Until now, the big talk about artificial intelligence has been about a single computer gobbling up all this data. The data gets shoved into a system like DGX, gets compressed, and voila, it turns into a large language model where trillions of data bits become billions of parameters. These parameters are supposed to represent your AI buddy. Now, there's a lot of excitement about this being a big breakthrough moment for robotics, kind of like what happened with ChatGPT. For a while now, there's been this quiet buildup, creating what's needed for robots to supposedly operate from start to finish. The teams behind these developments are quite pleased with themselves, having put together systems like DGX for general AI tasks and AGX for robots that need to move on their own. Then there's this new thing they're calling the world's first robotics processor. When this piece of tech was first introduced, it confused quite a few people. They wondered what it was really for. It's known as an AS, a single chip designed to use little power but handle fast processing of sensor data and AI tasks. If you need to run complex AI in a moving vehicle, they say the Jetson chip is your best bet. Sitting beneath the powerhouse DGX that trains the AI, Jetson works as the brain for moving machines. But it doesn't stop there. In between these layers of technology, there's another computer needed. This one is supposed to simulate the entire world digitally for the robot. Think of it as a virtual training ground where robots practice how to be robots. They call this digital place the Omniverse, which is powered by yet another specialized computer known as OVX. And guess where the OVX is hosted? In the Azure cloud, which means these robots rely heavily on a constant connection to the cloud. This setup, with its complex layers and cloud dependency, suggests a future where robots are always connected, learning to operate in a mix of real and simulated environments. The big question is whether we are building a sustainable system or just a flashy tech bubble that could burst with any major shift in technology or a snap back to reality. It looks like a grand vision of robotic autonomy, but beneath the surface, it's layered with potential complications and inefficiencies. There's also a broader context to consider. Each piece of this robotic puzzle, from DGX to Jetson to Omniverse, requires substantial resources, not just in terms of energy, but also cost and maintenance. Moreover, each component's dependency on the next creates a chain that could falter if one link breaks. It's a lot like setting up an intricate domino arrangement where if one piece falls, the entire setup could collapse. Moreover, the reliance on continuous internet connectivity through the cloud raises questions about privacy and data security. Every piece of data processed and every simulation run in the cloud could be vulnerable to cyber threats. What happens if there's an outage or a security breach? Could this halt entire robotic operations, or worse, compromise sensitive data? The allure of cutting-edge technology often comes with overlooked practicalities. While the creators of these robotic systems might paint a picture of revolutionary advancements, the everyday reality might be more about grappling with logistical challenges and ensuring that these high-tech systems can reliably serve in practical, real-world applications without constant hiccups. The masterminds behind these inventions are all set to show off how these systems will change the game when they pair up with something called the Omniverse. They've got an example that's being touted as almost too wild to believe. a glimpse into what they claim is just around the corner. It involves a scene set in what they're grandly calling a robotics building, which, to be honest, is just a fancy name for a warehouse. This warehouse is where you'll find what they are calling autonomous systems. Now, this is where it gets a bit weird. They're labeling both humans and forklifts as autonomous systems. That's right, in this future vision, humans are on the same level as machines, both programmed to move and act without needing someone to steer them. These humans and forklifts are supposed to work together smoothly, controlled by the warehouse, which acts like a boss who directs traffic to keep things safe and efficient. This warehouse isn't just a stack of bricks and metal. They say you can actually talk to it, and it's all supposed to work seamlessly in real time. Stepping into the world of robotics, we see technology and practical use come together. Let's watch how this blend is changing the way humans interact with machines, from smart cars to human-like robots. So about all those robots that were just shown off, they're all equipped to run independently, each powered by their own robotic software stack. The grand plan for the future? To turn everything that moves into a robot. This is supposed to make things safer and more convenient, particularly in big industries like automotive manufacturing. Next year, this technology will start showing up in Mercedes cars, and soon after, it will be in Jaguar Land Rover vehicles. The latest announcement is that BYD, which they claim is the world's biggest maker of electric vehicles, has signed up to use the next generation of this tech, named Thor. Thor is specially built to handle what they call transformer engines, and will be the brain of the next wave of autonomous vehicles. And there's yet another chapter in this futuristic saga, humanoid robotics. Apparently, with today's technology, they're ready to start making robots that look and move like humans. They argue that this kind of robot might even be easier to develop because they can train them with lots of data that mimic human behaviors and physical movements. These robots can learn from videos or through virtual reality setups. They're being trained in something called the Isaac Reinforcement Learning Gym, a sort of virtual playground where these humanoid robots can practice dealing with real-world scenarios. And guess what? The same supercomputer, Thor, which was initially made for cars, is now going to be the brain inside these humanoid robots, ready to handle the heavy demands of transformer engines. This narrative is thick with bold claims and flashy tech promises, painting a picture of a world where robots blend seamlessly into our daily lives. But it's worth taking a step back to consider what's really being said here. Are we genuinely on the brink of a robotic revolution that will make our lives easier and safer? Or is this just a lot of tech talk, building up expectations for something that might not be as practical or necessary as it sounds? As these technologies are pushed into cars, warehouses, and even designed to mimic human actions, one has to wonder if this push for a robotic future is as much about solving real problems as it is about tech companies finding new markets for their latest gadgets. The core of Nvidia, where computer graphics, physics, and artificial intelligence all come together, really shone through in a project called General Robotics 003. This project seems quite self-important, like it's trying to show off just how big a deal it is. It turns out there are notable robots attending this showcase, all running on small Jetson Robotics computers. These robots, trained in a simulation called Isaac Sim, are named Orange and the famously known Green. They're part of Disney's BDX robot team. As the event comes to a close, there's a rushed feeling to finish up, while the robots themselves appear distracted, almost as if they're waiting for a snack break. We're entering what's being touted as a new industrial age, where it's said every data center needs a boost to keep up. A staggering amount of money, $1 trillion, is set to be spent on updating old data centers in the next few years. At the heart of this revolution is something called Generative AI, featuring 1 trillion parameters, which was introduced with a lot of excitement as Blackwell. This piece of technology includes advanced processors, special switches for data transfer, and networking systems. Its design is often described in awe, as if it's revolutionary in its own right. Blackwell is represented as the ultimate example of what a modern GPU should be. Looking ahead, the prediction is that robotics will dominate our future. Every movement we know today might soon be performed by robots. From cars that drive themselves to robotic arms that can handle tasks in warehouses, the push is towards automation. These robots will operate in places like giant stadiums and factories, dedicated solely to robotics. All these automated systems will share a common need. They require a sophisticated digital platform to operate effectively. This platform, called the Omniverse, is ambitiously described as the operating system of the future robotics world, suggesting a blend of digital and mechanical processes seamlessly working together. This envisioned future is packed with technological advancements that aim to streamline processes and make industries more efficient. However, it also raises questions about the role of human workers in this new setting, the reliability of such heavily automated systems, and the potential for technological errors that could have large-scale impacts. Despite these concerns, the drive towards more automated and intelligent systems continues, with companies like Nvidia at the forefront, pushing the boundaries of what's possible with artificial intelligence and robotics. The idea is to create a world where machines do most of the heavy lifting, both literally and figuratively, making operations faster, safer, and more efficient. Is the rapid pace of technological advancement truly benefiting us, or are we spiraling into an endless cycle of unnecessary upgrades? What do you think? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more insightful discussions.